Greetings. Welcome. Good to see you. My name is Amir Bemji. My objective in this module is limited to discussing what self-esteem is not, and also discussing some very important related concepts that you already know, but I'd like to add a little more depth so you can make it practical and useful and utilize it to help yourself and help others you might know that could use it. You know what self-esteem is based on a simple definition. Self-esteem is how you think and feel about yourself within. Now let's take a look at what self-esteem is not. In the image on the top you see a scale, how you can self-assess where you are on the scale of self-esteem, where one end is low and the other end is high. Nothing wrong with the scale, but the term high self-esteem has gotten misinterpreted lately quite a bit, with behaviors that really do not reflect high self-esteem, especially the last several years, especially amongst politicians at the highest levels. Negative behaviors such as narcissism, self-praise, boasting, bragging, etc. These behaviors have been on full display in the last few years, especially amongst politicians at the highest levels. Comments such as, that you heard, comments such as, I know more about ISIS than the generals do. I know more about courts than any human being on earth. I can say that I'm a genius, an extremely stable genius. These comments reflect an exaggerated sense of self. And there were plenty of insults. The worst insult was openly on TV, mocking the disability of a reporter. It is very possible that people engaging in such behaviors truly believe that they have a high self-esteem and know no more and are smarter and are not aware of how repulsive those behaviors might appear to others. A question to reflect upon for you. Do you know anyone who might be displaying such behaviors on a milder scale and be unaware of it? Many politicians of otherwise good reputation put aside their values and embrace the leader with all the negative behaviors. And for what? There is an answer. The answer comes from Henry Kissinger, and he should know. He was in a position of immense power as Secretary of State for the most powerful country in the world. And Henry Kissinger stated, power is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Let me make sure I get the name right. Sir John Dalberg Acton, English historian, politician, writer, stated, and I quote, all power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So these behaviors that got interpreted as high self-esteem by our definition really belong to low self-esteem. People are trying to look smarter and better than others. The scale I prefer to use is reflected at the bottom of the image, with low self-esteem on one end and a healthy self-esteem on the other end. Healthy self-esteem is not related to position, power, wealth, or any such thing. You can have in a school district, you can have the principal of the school and the janitor in the same school district at the same school, working towards completing their 30 years in the next year. The principal of the school, his thoughts are, look how the environment has changed with the new students and the new teachers coming in. They question my credibility. It's not like it used to be. Cannot wait to get out of here and retire. The janitor, on the other hand, is extremely happy that with his job in the school district, he's been able to put two of his children through college. And he is thinking about retirement differently. that he is going to miss the students who make him feel young. So in this example, the janitor has a healthier self-esteem than the principal. It has nothing to do with power, position, wealth, or any such thing. It depends on how you feel on the inside about yourself. Now let's take a look at some related concepts that are very useful. Self-image, as the illustration on the left depicts, is more a mirror image where you make observations of how you see yourself literally. Self-esteem, as the illustration on the right depicts, is how you think and feel about yourself inside of you. And to that extent, it is more a mental image in a mental mirror, so to speak. Also, the word image can be used to reflect a persona that you project in public. So you can have a person who has a very different image in private, behind closed doors, with the family, than in public. So the person can be very charming, friendly, amiable outside when in public. And that's the public persona projected by the individual. But behind closed doors, at home, the person can be very different. My question for you, do you know anyone who has this image at home that you hear about is not very good, but in public appears very charming, amiable, and friendly?
Here is a reflection question for you. If the person is displaying not so good behaviors at home, and then you see the same person with gracious and charming behaviors in public, then which is the real person? And why do you feel that way? There's something for you to reflect on.
Some other concepts you should know about are self-awareness and self-consciousness. Self-awareness is being aware of your underlying thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It is being in touch with your inner self. As an example, if you are feeling under stress and getting frustrated, then a person with a high degree of self-awareness can take some quiet time to do some reflection and ask probing questions and get answers from within, such as, why am I feeling frustrated? Why am I feeling stressed? And come out with answers after the reflection to do some self-correction to address the stress experienced. That quote at the bottom of the slide by Eckhart Tolle, a spiritual teacher and author, confirms the reward in developing a high degree of self-awareness. And I quote, "Self-awareness is the greatest agent for change. From my perspective, self-awareness leads to self-correction and self-management. Self-consciousness, on the other hand, is a heightened sense of awareness of one's appearance or actions, coupled with concern about perceptions of others. The best way to understand self-consciousness is with a real-life example. If you have to speak to a group of people and you are conscious about your appearance and accent, being from a different cultural background, then this self-consciousness will impact the quality of your presentation. However, with a healthy self-esteem, you can reinterpret the differences you bring, feel good about them, and leverage them for a positive impact. What else can you do to overcome any self-consciousness? You can boost your self-confidence. Self-confidence is trust and belief in one's skills and abilities. The best way to understand self-confidence is with an example. Imagine you have a new job and you are interviewing two people, neither of whom has done this task. And you ask each one of them, how do you feel about doing this? And the one responds, I don't see any problems. The other one says, I've never done it before, but I will give it a try. In that simple answer, you can see the different levels of self-confidence that each one of them is experiencing. Where does the self-confidence come from? There are two sources. One is from within, generated from a healthy self-esteem. Having a healthy self-esteem means you are very accepting and comfortable in who you are, and you are not worried about what others will think. So you become more of a risk taker. Also, with a healthy self-esteem comes a desire and motivation to acquire new learning for self-improvement, because that makes you feel good. The other source of self-esteem is from engaging in any activity to the point where the repetition makes you good and builds the confidence to handle other similar tasks and activities. This works similarly in any skill area, such as computers, learning to work with computers, with cell phones, tasks such as casino card and table games, or working on a packaging line in a manufacturing facility, and interpersonal activities such as public speaking, facilitating virtual and live meetings, social networking, etc. The quote at the bottom by Peter McIntyre is very fitting. Confidence comes not from always being right, but from not fearing to be wrong. Here's a reflection item for you as we bring this discussion to a close. What activities would you like to engage in that you feel on the inside you want to, but are holding back because of fear of failure or fear of how you will be perceived by others? And what are you doing about it? There's plenty for you to ponder and reflect upon in this brief discussion. I hope that you have found value in our discussion. I welcome your questions, your comments, and I welcome your feedback, positive, negative, or anything in between. I will look forward to seeing you in our next module. You take care. Goodbye.